Dear friend, today we will see the anatomy of medulla oblongata. Medulla oblongata is one of the part of the brainstem. Okay. Now, what is brainstem? Brainstem is a part of the CNS which connect the higher centrus, which cerebral cortex, diencephalon, to the spinal cord. Look here. If you draw the diagram, suppose this is the pons area and this is the medulla, and here is the cerebellum. This is the pituitary gland. This is optic chiasma. Okay. And here is the cerebral hemisphere. Okay, so you can see here, this is the midbrain part, this is pons and medulla. So this whole brainstem connect the higher center towards the spinal cord. Suppose this is the level of the medulla and here the spinal cord. Okay, so it is a midline structure which connect here. Now, brainstem here, posteriorly here, especially the pons and medulla, posteriorly separated from the cerebellum by the cavity of the fourth ventricle. Okay, suppose here here. So this is the cavity of the fourth ventricle. So here the fourth ventricle superiorly continue with the aqueduct of the sylvius. Here this is the aqueduct of the sylvius, and here inferiorly it is continue with the central canal in the medulla lower part and continue the central canal of the spinal cord. Clear? So now this midbrain, pons and the medulla, okay, they are connected to the cerebellum via the three cerebellar peduncle, the superior cerebellar peduncle, inferior cerebellum peduncle and the middle cerebral peduncle. Look here, if suppose you draw the diagram in the posterior side, I am just drawing the diagram posterior side here. Suppose this is the midline. Okay, here, and this is the fourth ventricle floor. Okay, here. These are the fiber of the stria medullaris. Okay, here, which separate the floor of the fourth ventricle here from medullary part and the pons part here. So this is the medullary floor which is formed by the medulla. Clear? Now at this level here there are the four. This is the suppose inferior cerebral peduncle, lateral middle cerebral peduncle, and this is the superior cerebral peduncle. Same thing. This is inferior. This is the large one is middle, and the small is here. Okay. So there are three cerebral peduncle. For this cerebral peduncle here, the medulla, pons and the midbrain is connected. Okay, so these are the peduncle. Now there are total 10 nerves are connected to the brainstem. Okay, brainstem connected 10 nerves to the brainstem, and these nerves are the 3rd to 12th cranial nerve. Okay, so total 10 cranial nerves are connected to the brainstem. Look here, if you draw the diagram, the front side of the brainstem here, suppose here, I am drawing like that. This is the central axis here, midline. These are the pyramid. And these are the olive. Okay. Then this is the pons. Okay, here, and this is the crus cerebri of the midbrain, because the pons is continue with the midbrain through the crus cerebri. Okay, here. So the total 10 nerves are attached. 2 nerves is the midbrain. This is the here 3rd nerve. Oculomotor nerve is connected here. This is the 4th nerve. Okay, 2 nerve is the midbrain. 5th nerve, that here, trigeminal nerve by the 2 roots at the pons. The sensory root lateral, small motor root medial. Then here at the pyramid, the junction of the pons and the medulla, the 3 nerves are connected. One is the here the abducens nerve, the 6th nerve at the pyramid and the pons. Laterally here is the 7th nerve. Again there are the 2 roots. Okay, the main root and nervus intermedius, 1 root, and here, and at the junction of the inferior cerebral peduncle here is the inferior cerebral peduncle here. At this here, this is the pons. This is the 8th nerve, vestibulocochlear nerve. Okay, here. Then here at the junction of the medulla, this is the pyramid and the olive. Okay, here. This is the 12th cranial nerve is attached here. Okay, the pyramid and the 3 cranial nerve. After 8th, 9th, 10th and 11th, it is connected lateral to the olive here. In this I am drawing here. Suppose this is the 9th nerve, 10th nerve and the 11th nerve. Okay, so it is. So total 10 nerves. This is the 3rd cranial nerve. This is the 4th. This is 5th. This is 6th. This is 7th. This is 8th cranial nerve. This is 9th. This is 10th, 11th and the 12th. Okay, so 12 cranial nerves are attached here. Now, if you see the function of the brainstem, function of the brainstem is this brainstem serves as a pathway or the passage through which the descending tract and ascending tract passes. Okay, descending tract from the higher cortex to the spinal cord and the ascending tract from the spinal cord to the higher cortex. They passes through this brainstem, medulla, pons, and the so this brainstem also contains the cranial nerve nuclei from the 3rd to the 12th cranial nerve. Okay, spinal part of accessory nerve. Okay, here accessory nerve, spinal accessory nerve cranial nuclei here also extend up to the spinal cord or the C5 segment of the spinal cord. So all about the this brainstem has the place of the cranial nuclei from the 3rd to 12th cranial nerve because they arises from here. Okay. Spinal accessory nerve here, the 11th nerve nuclei also extend towards the spinal cord. Okay, the C5 up to the C5 segment of the spinal cord. Clear? Now, this brainstem also has the important reflex center. Okay, reflex center. What are these reflex center? These center have the respiratory center and the cardiovascular center here, and these especially in the pons have the apneustic center, and the pneumotoxic. Okay, apneustic center and pneumotoxic center which influence the respiration. Okay, and medulla contains the this cardiovascular center. Okay, so important vital centers are present in the pons and medulla which control the respiration in the cardiovascular system. Okay, here. And also this brainstem also has the consciousness, controlling of the consciousness. Controlling of consciousness, okay, by the reticular activating system. Okay, reticular activating system first, then or it can also ascending reticular activating system. Clear? Then it also regulates the muscle tone. It regulates the muscle tone here via the medial and lateral reticulospinal tract. Okay, reticulospinal tract. Okay, here. So this tract control the muscle tone. Clear? Then it also controls the vegetative function, autonomic function. Okay, by this reticular activating system. Another again, it also inhibits the pain. Okay, it inhibits pain by the periaqueductal gray matter. Periaqueductal gray matter. Okay, it is present in the medulla and also the midbrain. Clear? So these are the important function which serve this brainstem. Here these are the vital centers, cardiovascular center, respiratory center. Okay, also pain pathway, control the consciousness. Okay, so this is all about general about the brainstem. Now medulla. Today we will discuss the medulla, external feature of the medulla. Next lecture we will see the internal features of the medulla. Now medulla is the lower part of the brainstem, and this also known as the bulb because this is a bulb-like structure, wider above and narrow below. Okay, and the whole medulla is divided into the two parts, upper open part and lower closed part. Closed part means this lower part has the central canal in it, in the center, while the upper part do not have the central canal, but central canal open into the fourth ventricle here. Okay, here will be the central canal in the center, but here it opens into the floor of the in the fourth ventricle here. So it is the open part, upper and lower, and this is known as the, it look like a bulb-like structure is a bulbar. So bulbar paralysis come from this part. Bulbar paralysis means there are the damage of certain nerve nuclei inside the medulla. Okay, so this gives rise to the variety of the symptom. Okay, here due to the different nerve paralysis. Yeah? And this is not a disease, the syndrome. Okay, bulbar paralysis is a syndrome where the variety of the symptom occur here due to different nerve paralysis, nerve nuclei damage occur here, and this gives rise to the bulbar paralysis. Now, this medulla join with the pons at the upper part, and at the upper part in the center there is a depression is seen here, and between the two pyramid. Okay, and in the center, and this depression is known as the foramen cecum here. foramen cecum. So in the midline, in the upper part, junction of the medulla and the pons, the one small depression is there, there is a foramen cecum. Now first draw the diagram, the whole, the brainstem, clear? Now suppose this is the midline. Okay, here the midline. These are the two swelling elevation. These are the pyramid, and by the side of the pyramid, these are the olive. Okay, here, and above the medulla, this is the pons. Okay, here the pons. Above the pons, this is the midbrain crus cerebri. Okay, this crus cerebri, and here is the optic tract. Okay, yeah. So this upper part is here, the midbrain. This is the pons. This is the medulla here. Come on the external feature of the medulla. What are the external feature medulla? External feature medulla, we will see the anterior side and the posterior side. Anterior side, whole of the medulla have the certain sulci and the fissures. Okay, in the anterior side and the posterior side, sulcus and the fissures. Okay, if the should say anterior side, anteriorly here, there's an anterior median here fissure is there. Yeah, this is the anterior median fissure, and this anterior median fissure is continuous the corresponding fissure of the spinal cord. Okay, in the spinal cord is a anteriorly the anterior median fissure is there. Now lateral to the anterior median fissure here, okay, there's a swelling is there, and this swelling is the pyramid. And these pyramids are due to the descending fiber, the motor fiber from the cortex, the corticospinal fiber. Okay, so corticospinal fiber passes deep to this pyramid. Okay? So these are the pyramid. Now, lateral to the pyramid, another swelling, small oval swelling is here, and this swelling is known as the olive. Okay, here olive, and this. And lateral to pyramid here, this is sulcus is there first. This is the anterolateral sulcus. Anterolateral sulcus here, and this anterolateral sulcus is in line with the anterolateral sulcus of the this spinal cord where the ventral nerve roots arises. Okay, so this is in line. So in this line, in the spinal cord, ventral nerve roots arises. Now, lateral to the anterolateral sulcus in the upper part is the swelling here, oval swelling. This is olive. Okay, between the pyramid and the olive here at this upper part, there is the origin of the rootlets of the hypoglossal nerve. So this is the hypoglossal nerve. Hypoglossal nerve here. Okay, here, and lateral to the olive here, this here. So this there are the three nerves again arises. This is the 9th nerve, glossopharyngeal. This is the 10th nerve, vagus, and this is the here the spinal accessory, this here, this hypoglossal, this is spinal accessory nerve or the 11th nerve. Okay, here. So this is the cranial part of the spinal accessory nerve arises, and this cranial part of spinal accessory nerve descends further downward up to the 5 cervical segment. Okay, 5 cervical segment, the accessory part or the spinal part of the 11th cranial nerve arises. Okay, so the 3 nerves, 9, 10th and 11 arises lateral to the here the olive, while the hypoglossal nerve arises between the pyramid and the olive, while at the junction of the this pyramid and the this pons here, there this is the 6th nerve arises. Okay, here at the junction of the olive and the pons here, this is 7th nerve arises. Okay, and lateral to the olive here at the junction of the cerebellar peduncle, inferior cerebral peduncle and the pons here, this is the 8th nerve arises. Okay, here this, and anteriorly here in the anterior median fissure in the lower part here in the medulla here, there is the crossing of the fiber, the pyramidal fiber, pyramidal decussation, and the this medulla and the spinal cord are separated. The demarcation is at the upper level of the first cervical vertebra. Okay, first cervical C1 vertebra at the, so medulla continue with the spinal cord at the level of the upper board of the atlas vertebra, where the rootlets of the first cervical nerve arises. Okay, here. So this is the anterior side of the medulla oblongata. Now we will discuss the posterior surface of the medulla oblongata. Posterior surface has the closed part and the open part. This is the midline. Okay, median, posterior median sulcus. Look here. These are the margin of the posterior part. Okay, here, and posterior part of the medulla, upper part, is demarcated from the pons by the fiber of the stria medullaris. Here the stria medullaris fiber which runs here and separate the medulla from the pons posteriorly. Okay, now on the lower part, this is the closed part and this is the open part. Now on the closed part here, by the side of the midline, there are the 2 elevations. Okay, this one elevation just here, 2 elevations are here, another elevation. Here. Okay, so these 2 elevations. These 2 elevations are known as these elevations are produced due to the fiber of the posterior lemniscal system or the posterior column lemniscal system, and these are the elevations. Fasciculus, medial elevation is the fasciculus gracilis, and lateral one is the fasciculus cuneatus. Okay, this elevation produced, and this elevation ascends upward, and both elevation, before that, both elevation are separated by this sulcus here, and this sulcus is known as the here, this sulcus is the posterior intermediate sulcus, posterior intermediate sulcus. This midline sulcus is known as here, midline sulcus, this is here, this is a posterior median sulcus, posterior median sulcus. Okay, now this elevation upward here they form a tubercle. Okay, so these are the tubercles. Okay, here. And these tubercles are due to the presence of the gray matter, because these fasciculus gracile cuneatus end into the here the nucleus. Okay, and this nucleus is the presence of the gray matter known as the gracile tubercle. Gracile tubercle, and this is the cuneate tubercle. Okay, tubercle, and deep to the tubercle the nucleus, nucleus gracilis and nucleus cuneatus, because the tubercle is elevation, upper part here. Okay, here of this fasciculus gracilis and cuneatus. Further laterally here, okay, further laterally here, this is now, suppose these are the three peduncle: inferior peduncle, middle peduncle, and superior peduncle. Some inferior peduncle, large one is middle peduncle, and middle side upper inferior peduncle. Now here this is a peduncle. Okay, lateral to the fasciculus gracilis here, this is a sulcus, another sulcus. This is the posterolateral sulcus. Posterolateral sulcus. And this posterolateral sulcus is in line with the posterolateral sulcus of the spinal cord, where the dorsal nerve roots arises. Okay, so dorsal nerve arises from the posterolateral sulcus in the spinal cord here. Clear? Now, further upward here, this is the inferior peduncle, and at the lower end of here, okay, here at the inferior peduncle and lateral to the cuneate tubercle here, another elevation is here. Okay, here, and this elevation is known as the tuberculum cinereum. Tubercular and this tubercular cinereum is due to the presence of the spinal nucleus of the trigeminal nerve. Under this here, the spinal nucleus trigeminal nerve is present, and peripheral to the spinal nucleus trigeminal nerve, there is the fiber of the spinal tract ascends upward in the lateral side here. Okay, we will see in the cross section here, on the lateral side of the cuneate tuber, the spinal tract of the trigeminal nerve ascends upward, and deep to here there is a spinal nucleus of trigeminal nerve present. And this tubercular cinereum is in line inferiorly in the substantia gelatinosa. When you go descends downward towards the spinal cord, in the spinal cord substantia gelatinosa will be here, and it is in line with the tuberculum cinereum here. Okay, so this is the lower part here. Now come on the upper part, open part of this medulla oblongata. Upper part of the medulla oblongata here in the midline, divided into the two half. Okay, here this is the posterior median sulcus, divided into two half. Okay, and both half here are bounded by the here inferior cerebral peduncle. Okay, this is inferior cerebral peduncle is here. Now again, each half again divided into the another sulcus, that is the sulcus limitans. So this is the sulcus limitans. Okay, here. Now from the lower part of the sulcus limitans, one depression is there. Okay, this depression, and this depression is known here is known as the inferior fovea. Inferior fovea, and from this depression here a ridge starts and descends downward here and meets with the median sulcus, posterior median sulcus here. Okay, so depression along with the ridge here which passes here this divide the whole, this part, this area is known as the median eminence. Between the posterior median sulcus and sulcus median, this area is known as the median limb. So due to the presence of the inferior fovea and the ridge here, this median eminence is divided into the two parts, upper part, or we can say the medial part, and the lower part, the lateral part. These are two triangles are formed here, and these triangles are known as this triangle is known as the hypoglossal triangle, hypoglossal triangle, where the hypoglossal nucleus is present, while this triangle is known as the vagal triangle. Vagal triangle, where the dorsal nucleus of the vagus is situated here. Now the lower part of the vagal triangle here, lower part of the vagal triangle here, this area is known as the area posterima. This area posterima, and this is also known as chemoreceptor trigger zone. Okay, this area posterima contains the centers which control the vomiting. So vomiting centers are present here in the area posterima here, the dark color area at the lower end of the vagal triangle here. Clear? Now here, now this whole of the this open part here bounded by a ridge here. This is the black color ridge here. Okay, here this ridge is known as the tinea. Tinea. Okay, and tinea meets at the lower end. Both sides of the tinea, these fibers ridge here meets at the apex here. Okay, here, and this apex is known as the obex. Obex. Okay. Now and lateral to this median eminence, this area. Okay, these areas are known as the vestibular area. Okay, this area is known as vestibular area here. Now, if you see the this whole open part of the medulla oblongata from posterior side, in the lower end, it looks like a nib of the pen. Okay, it is fancied appearance of the nib of the pen here. Okay, so this is known as the calamus scriptorius. Calamus scriptorius. Okay, so these are the features in the posterior part of the this medulla oblongata. This is the lower part. Okay, close part we have seen here. Okay, fasciculus gracilis, fasciculus cuneatus, and into the gracile and cuneate tubercle here. Clear? And lateral, this is the lateral part here, and this is here the posterior lateral sulcus, and this is the posterior intermediate sulcus here. Yeah. So these are the features on the posterior part of the medulla oblongata. Now, what are the artery supply? Artery supply, there are the 4 arteries supply the medulla. One is the anterior spinal artery. Okay, posterior spinal artery. Third is posterior inferior cerebellar artery. Okay, and the fourth are the perforating branches, that's direct branches. Direct branches from vertebral artery. Okay. Now, what is a clinical anatomy? There is a one thing is there is a crossed diplegia. Crossed diplegia. What is crossed diplegia? In the crossed diplegia, you know here this is the anterior median sulcus and these are the pyramid. Okay, here in the pyramid, and in the lower part of the anterior median sulcus there is a decussation of the fiber of the pyramidal fiber or the corticospinal fiber. Okay. So in the corticospinal fiber, when they decussate, the upper limb fiber decussate first, then the lower limb fiber decussate or crossing occur here. Okay. So once suppose there is a meningioma occur in this area. Okay. In this area here, where the upper limb fiber decussate and still there is a lower limb fiber not decussate here. It passes straight here. So when the meningioma occur, what's happened? The upper limb fiber disturb, paralyzed. So the paralysis of the opposite upper limb occur. Okay. While here the lower limb fiber is still not decussate here. So lower limb fiber also paralyzed. So the lower limb of the same side is paralyzed here. Limb muscle, lower limb muscle. Okay. So this is known as the cross diplegia. So this is all about the medulla oblongata, the external feature. In the next lecture, we will see the internal feature of the medulla oblongata. We will cut the medulla oblongata at the 3 level. Okay, at the level of the olive, at the level of the motor decussation, level of the sensory decussation. So we will see in the next lecture. Thank you.